Hey folks, David Stewart here. So apparently Gina Carano got fired from The Mandalorian by Disney, presumably because she's to the right of Mao. But this doesn't really matter. And you being angry about it, that doesn't really matter either. Now, this is going to seem like a black pill video, but I promise you it's actually a white pill video, though you may have to follow along with me to the end of my little speech to find out why. So there's three big reasons why it doesn't really matter that Gina Carano was fired. The first one is it won't move the needle. So you canceling your Disney Plus subscription or being upset about it or other people doing the same, it probably is not going to move the needle for Disney. It's not going to make a difference to their wallet. And there's a few reasons why this is the case. First one is that the normies don't know. They don't know what's going on. They're not intense Star Wars fans. Like, the Star Wars fandom is very valuable, but it's very intense. Most people are outside of that fandom as far as its level of intensity and aren't going to be aware that Gina Carano is even missing from The Mandalorian until the next season rolls around and she's not there. And then they're going to wonder what happened. And they may not even follow up on it. They may not even Google it. Or they may see some kind of news story flip through their Facebook feed about her being fired and just forget about it. They just aren't really going to pay attention to her being fired or why she was fired. And number two is really that normies don't care. In fact, normies are probably not going to look too deep into the conflict there. They're not going to see, the offending tweet by Gina Carano or whatever kind of things are there. They're just basically going to assume Disney had a reason, or she was mouthing off on Twitter and whatever. Somebody said something dumb, she got fired. They're just not really going to care about it. And in fact, a lot of people who have Disney Plus don't even watch The Mandalorian or care anything about it. They buy Disney Plus because it's full of kids shows, it's full of content their kids watch, it's full of content they grew up with, old Disney shows. And The Mandalorian is just added value to that, but they don't really care. They're not Star Wars fans. And so it's just not even going to be a blip to them. They're not going to cancel their Disney Plus subscription over it. So 99% of the people, that's the normies, that are actually subscribing to Disney Plus, they're not going to cancel their subscription over it. And the third one of why it won't really move the needle is that Star Wars fans are loyal not just to a fault, but really to a vice at this point. Star Wars fans have been upset over Star Wars content for so long at this point, I have trouble thinking that there's anything that they've enjoyed at this point. The sequel trilogy is just kind of icing on the cake. We have people that went and saw all three movies of the sequel trilogy, in many cases multiple times, hoping that somehow they would watch it and it would be good enough, or they still bought it on Blu-ray, they still bought it on DVD, they still bought the toys even though they don't like the movies, and they never really stepped back. And or things like the Phantom Menace that were all for abandoning ship on the franchise. As soon as Mandalorian came out, they were right back on board with it. And Favreau and Filoni were like the saviors of the franchise. So do I expect Star Wars fans, even angry ones, to stay away forever? And the answer is unfortunately no, though I know many of the people watching this are not in that category, that you are people who are actively looking for other fun things to do with your time, and I'll get to that in a minute. Number two, the second big reason why this doesn't matter is that the money actually doesn't matter to Disney either. So even if you do move the needle, they don't care about the money. This is a conclusion that I've come to over years of looking at this circumstance and many others in Hollywood and in general media terms. The money actually doesn't matter. Okay, once you have corporate cancer, once you have an influx of whatever you want to call them, leftists, wokeists, SJ dubs, it doesn't matter what you call them. Once you have an influx of these woke type people, they will operate the company with profit maybe as an afterthought. There's some people in the company that are obviously still concerned with profit. They're still trying to turn a profit. They're still trying to run a business. But there's plenty of people who don't care about the money. And even if it would collapse the business. They would collapse the business in order to punish their enemy. So if Gina Carano, they decided as their enemy because she's to the right of Mao, and you've got to be on Mao or to the left of him in order to be woke enough, because she's to the right of Mao. She's an enemy, and punishing the enemy is more important than preserving the institution that you've taken over. The other thing is that this is a reality. Is get woke, go broke is not actually a thing. We look at this with things like Marvel and DC, where you have writers that fail up. They continue to write failing series and be given more and more bigger projects, even though they have no track record of success. It's like, why is this? It's because get woke, broke, go broke. It's not real. Woke capital is what I didn't come up with this. I don't remember who came up with it. Maybe it was Brian Niemeyer, who I'm going to plug later in this video. But woke capital. There's no end to the supply of debt and money that the companies can acquire. And Disney is so monolithic at this point. It has so many assets of such a wide variety. Physical assets, things like Disneyland. It's also got a huge catalog of intellectual properties, especially after the acquisition of Fox Studios, that it could leverage debt just on those properties, which have been proven to bring in income, even if it's a small amount. They're proven milking cows. They can leverage debt on that basically forever. You also have companies like Twitter that have never turned a profit, and yet here they are, continuing on in 2021, having never made money. So the idea that they have to make money to continue is not true. Now, woke capital is basically unprecedented. It violates the rules of economics. But here we are looking at it. And it's some product of our corporatist time where a company, a mega corporation that's big enough can leverage enough debt and get enough liquid flow going that it never really seems to run out of steam, no matter how bad it does. It can be a little bit less than profitable, basically indefinitely, until it fails. At some point, you have to assume that like what can't continue won't continue and will just blow up, and that'll be the end of it. But I wouldn't hold my breath. That's going to be a long way away. And Disney has a lot of assets that it can leverage for debt in the short run, and it can throw out enough things. It can roll the dice enough times. It could always end up with another mega hit unintentionally. You never know. So that's the other things. The money doesn't matter. This is a conclusion that I've had to come to over years of studying this. It's easy to try to say, they're all greedy corporate pigs. And while they're corporate pigs, their greed is not necessarily towards money. It's towards their ideological convictions. So the money doesn't matter. Even if you move the needle, it's not going to change anything. You're going to have to perform surgery on the patient to remove the cancer or let the patient die. And this really brings me to my third one, why it doesn't matter. And it's because you will get to enjoy a lot better things. You will get to say farewell to the dying franchise, and you will get to spend your time, your energy, your hard-earned money, which you acquired through toil, effort, and wisdom. You'll get to spend that on other things which will bring you enrichment and joy the way Star Wars did. Nothing can take away Star Wars if you enjoy that. Nothing they can't come in your house, not yet anyways. They can't come in your house and take your Blu-rays out of your hands or take those VHSs of the original non-special editions out of your house and abscond with them. No one can take the memories that you have of playing with your toys with your brother 30 years ago. Nobody can take the memories you have of playing your favorite Star Wars video game, however long ago you played it. Nobody can take those memories away of you talking with other fans or meeting other fans at conventions. None of that stuff can ever be taken away. That's yours forever. But that doesn't mean you have to keep subjecting yourself to things that you don't like, or that you have to pay attention to people who hate you. And so I'm going to plug my friend Brian's book because it always comes back. Don't give money to people who hate you. I might link it down below in the description. You could just Google it. He's done such a good job, I think, with SEO. If you just Google, "Don't Give Money to People Who Hate You" by Brian Niemeyer, or just "Don't Give Money to People Who Hate You," you're going to see the book. How you can reject the cult, the pop cult, and have fun doing it. And that's the main thing, is that you will find that there is such a wealth of awesome stuff out there to consume, to enjoy, that isn't Star Wars if you just take the time to step away from Star Wars and go find other things. You may find things that you don't really enjoy. You might find things that you think are amazing. And the time that you spent maybe half enjoying Star Wars content that's been lame for a while now at this point, that could be spent on other things which will bring you a lot more fun and a lot more joy. This is why I tend to say stop being a fan of things. Don't be loyal to the brand. When Disney bought Star Wars, what they bought was the fans. They bought the fans' attention and their loyalty to the franchise. And they intended to extract the value from that, at least with that transaction. Now things have changed. Handed control of that franchise over to people who actually didn't care about the money. That was point number 2. And so that's one of the reasons that the quality begins to really, really decrease. Half of the people in Disney view you as a cow to be milked. The other half of the people at Disney view you as an enemy to be destroyed. And so they hate you. So don't give money to people who hate you. Instead, spend your time, energy, and your money especially on people who don't hate you, who are probably making things that are better at this point. Now, the hard part for people who are big Star Wars fans is that you're probably not going to find a franchise like Star Wars outside of the mainstream that has all of those special effects, high production values, really groundbreaking production. Both the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy were groundbreaking as far as their production techniques go and are some of the best produced movies ever made. That's the level of executive production control that George Lucas brought to bear on his creations. That's one of the reasons Star Wars is so successful. Everything from the sound design to the visual effects. You're probably not going to find things of that extreme quality. But there's stories that are just as amazing, if not more amazing, that are out there. You may have to read some books. You can read classics, right? There's a whole bunch of classic books that you can just read for free. Basically, all of H.P. Lovecraft's stuff is in the public domain. So is Edgar Rice Burroughs' books. So if you want to read a great space opera, the guy who invented it, you can read A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs and enjoy the hell out of that space opera, as well as a lot of things that were inspired by it. And of course, things by Robert E. Howard. Many of them are in the public domain at this point and are enjoyable for free. Conan the Barbarian. We're talking about franchises that have lasted 100 years. And these are good things that you can, good alternatives that you can look at besides the stuff that's coming out now. The things that like I work on, the things that my friends work on, the things that are out there outside of the mainstream, in the book world doing amazing things, in the comic book world, in the video game world, especially in the indie video game world. There's some amazing games that can be played. So yeah, you're probably not going to find a super high quality movie experience, but there's plenty of great story experiences outside the mainstream for you guys. So that's number 3, is that you get to enjoy better stuff. That's the white pill, is that the drama that they create, it doesn't matter, because you can walk away and you can enjoy your time doing it. You can find things that are much more fun to enjoy. Isn't it more fun to talk about how awesome something is than how much something sucks? I get that there's like this good feeling when we all get together and we talk about how bad this Star Wars movie is. And it's kind of like therapeutic. But it's also, I have more fun talking about things that I love. I get more views talking about how this thing sucks. But I prefer to spend my time talking about the things that are really good. And I feel like the best conversations I've had have been with other people like, oh, I love Vampire Hunter D. They just happened to see this video. Oh, I love Elric stuff. Watch my videos on Elric or this or that. And I have such great conversations with people. It's way more engaging for me than somebody who wants to be like a Star Wars fanboy and hates me because I didn't like a couple Star Wars movies, So I don't know. It comes down to that stuff. That is the big white pills that you get to enjoy new and better things. So, of course, I feel sorry for Gina Carano. I don't want her to not have a job, and I don't want people who enjoy Mandalorian to not have it, but you can easily fill that void with other things, and hopefully she can find other work that's going to make her even more fans and fans that are going to like her even more than the Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans are very loyal, and they do like the people that are in Star Wars as well. So anyway, thanks so much for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't have a whole lot of new stuff because it's kind of new in the year, and I'm working on music this month. But you can get my book from last year on Keys to Prolific Creativity, because this is the last piece of this. If you want to see change, you can be the change. And this is my book on work habits and how to put creativity and writing books and creating music or making art, whatever it is, put it into your real life as a real person who has a real family or a real job and all those sorts of things. How to put it in your life and finish your projects on time, under budget, get them out there so people can read them, people can enjoy them, and so that you can be part of the cultural change that you want to exist. It all starts with great quality work habits and great mindsets to help you get past your roadblocks and finish what you start and achieve your dreams. That's why I wrote this book, and it's actually quite short. You can actually listen to the whole audiobook for free on YouTube if you don't want to give me any money, but that's $2.99 on Amazon. So grab it, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one. Leave me your thoughts down below about the whole situation, and let me know what you think. I'll see you later.